government says infrastructure is key to economic recovery. President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's hoping to unlock 1 trillion rand for infrastructure development. He was speaking earlier at the Infrastructure South Africa Project Preparation Roundtable. eNCA political editor Vuyo Mvoko is following that story for us and joins us now. So Vuyo, I was glancing through the speech by the president there. I don't think there's anything particularly new that he was announcing, but I'm wondering if the significance of it all, of having this project preparation round table, is about sort of putting the projects on the runway and basically saying we are ready to take off.
You're right, Chulas, nothing really new. But the point of this round table, we are told, is to take now. Remember, in June, there was this symposium where about 276 projects were put on the table, and they had a combined value of about 2.7 trillion rand. So what they are now trying to do is concentrate on a few dozen of those projects. These will be high impact projects that will have a multiplier effect, as in more people will be employed, but also they will be able to also attract other projects to them. So this is what they are now busy with at this round table. But what they also have identified over the past few months of us living with the COVID-19 pandemic is that there is not going to be a lot of money to go around than many people thought would be the case initially. So they are now also looking at alternative sources of funding. And that is why at this particular meeting, they have now roped in your pension fund managers, commercial banks, as well, of course, as your development finance institutions to discuss these 30-odd something projects, how they are going to fund them, the life cycle of these projects from start to finish, to avoid a situation where, for example, somewhere midway through the project, someone says, oops, we don't think we can actually fund this project to the very end. We need more money, then cost spiral, and so on. But they're also bringing in people who are going to be watchdogs, who are going to ensure that you don't wait till the very end of the project to suddenly discover that there was corruption or prices were inflated and so on. So we are going to put a mechanism in place from the word go during the course of all these projects to ensure that there is transparency from start to finish. Yeah. That, they say, in a nutshell, is the purpose of this particular roundtable.
So 276 projects already identified, and we're told about 50 of those already gazetted, and you are talking now about 30 that seem to be, up ahead. If we take my analogy of the runway, they seem to be further along on the runway and ready for takeoff, pretty soon. Interestingly, Vuyo, the focus is not really on the massive economic infrastructure, as in building bridges and power stations, etc. It seems to be more on social infrastructure. So we're talking here building houses, for example, and that kind of infrastructure. That's interesting, right? How much buy-in do we expect from the private sector on that particular line of infrastructure development?
Well, Josienzo Ramkhupa, who is heading this project, of course, says that is the whole point of narrowing it down to these few dozen projects, so that they'll have absolute transparency as these projects take off, that there will be a buy-in from everybody. In other words, no one is going to say, no, but why did you start with this one and not with the other one? And it's all in line with what President Cyril Ramaphosa said, repeated this morning, that you need to build consensus so that everybody who is a stakeholder has faith and confidence in what is being done. And that, he said, includes communities. In other words, you're going to get what you're seeing at NEDLAC, where the community or communities are represented, business, the government, organized labor, and whoever else would have to be part of it, so that everybody reads from the same script in terms of the choice of projects, how these projects are going to unfold, what is built into the process of executing them, so that no one then turns around and says, the reason this went wrong is because so-and-so went and decided what to do and how to do it on their own. So it will be a model, so to speak, for the rest of the projects as they become bigger and a lot more perhaps complicated. So that is really what they say is the purpose of this roundtable.
All right, thank you for that. That's eNCA's Vuyo Mvoko, our political editor, reporting there on the speech and the remarks by President Cyril Ramaphosa on issues of infrastructure.